So in my latest video about dailies and betas, there were a lot of very interesting comments and discussions, but one of them in particular caught my eye. Dirty Rice 34 says that they actually find a quartz watch to be much more reliable than a mechanical one. And that got me thinking, are quartz watches, in a way, much more luxurious than given the credit for? And I think I just got the thing to prove it. Quartz watches possesses a luxuriousness to it that a mechanical watch does not have by default unless you're using an external tool. A quartz watch will always give you an ability to just put it on and set off, which is perhaps one of the biggest luxuries in a high-paced world that we live in. Let me start from a little bit of a different place here. I was never really into the debate of the what is better, quartz watch or a mechanical watch. The reason for that is just extremely simple. For me, watches are not limited to a movement placed inside of a case. I do appreciate high horology and its art because the art of creating a movement is sublime. However, that is not the only thing to appreciate the watch for. Therefore, for me, the idea of saying if you have a quartz watch, your watch is automatically a lesser one is absurd, especially given how many companies have already pushed the boundaries of creating brilliant quartz movements. It can be Belova, Grand Seiko, Citizen, Casio, Seiko, or any others. Therefore, if we were to put two different movement principles side by side, quartz and mechanical, without making a distinction between mechanical and automatic, and compare the luxuriousness of the two, then from a product standpoint, unless we're talking about some specific cases, of course a mechanical movement looks like a clear winner. The general rule of thumb is that it is more beautiful, more refined, and aesthetically more pleasing as it results in that sweep of your mechanical hand and provides you with the general ability to look at the movement through a display case back, which is always a good treat. However, allow me to change your perspective on it just a little bit. If we were to follow the established logic, then we would find that brands and companies have already found numerous ways how to work around it and have fixed most of those issues. A technical aspect has been already fixed by different variations of the quartz movement. Mecha Quartz allows you to create a chronograph with a sweeping hand, and high-frequency quartz movements achieve the desired result seamlessly, as seen in Belova precisionist models. Alternatively, you can always refer to Seiko and their spring drive movements if you're looking for a higher-end models, now talking about Grand Seiko specifically. There's a second way of solving the technical aspect of it by completely removing the seconds hands from the equation, leaving you with just two, the hour and the minutes hands, and therefore completely taking away the bugging notion of the ticking seconds hand, which solves our technical issue. On top of that, quartz watches are generally just much more slimmer than mechanical automatics, especially if we're talking about lower end models of mechanical watches or vintage. I cherish my Slava 1980. However, wearing it sometimes becomes a little bit of a problem just because of how thick this thing is. It is a bit of a challenge sometimes to wear it. And let's not exclude the price matter from this conversation either, as normally a quartz watch will be just less expensive if we are not talking about brands like Grand Seiko or FP Journe. Watch collecting is one hell of an expensive hobby, and bumping down the price, at least on some of the models, is a genuinely welcomed prospect. Now, everything that has been discussed prior to this is something you can consider to be objective rather than subjective. Both quartz and mechanical watches have their own pros and cons, and therefore this debate will probably be everlasting. However, there is one aspect of a quartz watch that is entirely subjective. A quartz watch eliminates the need of preparing yourself for the wearing experience. It always takes and only requires a change of battery, therefore making it a jack of all trades. You could argue that it takes away the beauty of watch craftsmanship. However, in modern times, for me, having an ability not to think about whether my watch is rounded or not, which in a collection of bigger watches sometimes can be a little bit of a problem, especially when I have to think about not only the winding of the watch, but also setting the time, the date, the day of the week or whatnot. It is much more luxurious than we probably think. Quartz watches provide you with a seamless experience in which you don't have to worry about anything but one thing. Just put it on your wrist and just go, which in a way is absolutely amazing. Now, for me, this specific characteristic just brings so much potential in how to build one's collection, as there are many ways to interpret it and then incorporate it. Since it eliminates this friction I've just mentioned, it sounds like it is a great daily. Just slam it on the wrist and go. Although I do realize that an automatic is actually fitting the niche as well. If this is the price you're worried about, you can always get yourself something that either costs less or the same model that can be mechanical, but it would be quartz, like for example a Cartier tank. This is one of the entrants of my future purchases list. And I could always just get myself the quartz version of the tank without the second hand, and I won't be mad about it. And from all the other brands that we've mentioned today, all of them just provide an interesting twist on a quartz movement. And therefore, by approaching a quartz watch as an equal entity to the mechanical one, we provide ourselves with a lot of space for creativity in building a collection, which in my eyes is one of the most interesting things you can do in this hobby. Thank you for watching. Cheers. See you next time.